Okay guys, let's go through this. So this is the Union Bank SME Business Banking app that's available on the App Store and Google Play. Now, just before I get into all the different features you can do once inside the app, I want to talk about the login screen for just a minute here. Logging in is a really hot topic right now because a lot of the security in online banking really is addressed at that first stage. Logging in securely is generally facilitated using multi-factor authentication. That's how we do security in most apps. And what that involves is usually one, something you know, which is usually your password, and two is something you have. And the something you have is verified usually with a one-time password sent via SMS. You realize that a lot of businesses and a lot of users have trouble receiving this SMS. It's secure, but it's really inconvenient. So what we've done is allow multi-factor authentication through other methods. We introduced two additional ways of doing that here. The first is if your device is capable, we allow logging in using the biometric security of your device. So my particular device here has Face ID. I can log in with my password and now with my biometric Face ID. This ensures that I know my password and that it's me through my face. Second, we also allow users to generate OTP with the app itself. So if your device isn't capable of biometrics, you can actually generate a one-time PIN by clicking the button here with a trusted device. So this device here I know is my personal device. I've logged in with it previously. And now, if I have to log into other devices such as my laptop, I can use this 6-digit PIN generated by the app, and it doesn't need signal or even internet connection for me to be able to do that because I know that this specific device is with me and secure. These are some of the cool things that we've been able to do because of the SME Business Banking app. We've been able to introduce more features that you wouldn't be able to do with just a website. So that aside, I'm gonna log into the app and show you some of the cool things that we're doing with it. Up front is your account, whether it's savings, checking, your loans, your business line accounts. You can see all of it here. You can see all your transaction history. That's pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna hop over to fund transfers. Now, any business banking or online platform, fund transfers is definitely the go-to here. It's the main reason you're doing this. And so if I click here, let me show you some of the channels that are available on Union Bank SME Business Banking. So I'm gonna make a transfer here. Now, here are the different channels. Now, I think a lot of us are familiar with Union Bank transfers, PesoNet, or InstaPay. So this is to other local banks in the Philippines. Now, we also allow PDTS, which is US dollar transfers within the Philippines, and also SWIFT. SWIFT, if you're not familiar, is the channel used to send transactions to banks all over the world. A lot of the transactions are facilitated through this facility. And so with Union Bank SME Business Banking, you can actually create SWIFT transactions as well. So for businesses that have, international transactions, this is really helpful. But one cool thing is for SWIFT, since yes, it does deal with all banks in the world, is it actually shows the entire list here. And that makes it really convenient because if you notice, on the right side, you'll see the SWIFT code. And generally, when you make these international transactions at the branch, you'll have to come to the branch with this 11-digit code, 12-digit code. And it's very difficult, right? It's very easy to make these mistakes. So here, you can search your different banks and easily click it. And all the relevant information for that particular bank is automatically populated. No need to memorize, no more mistakes or risk of sending money only to find out it's been returned or sent to the incorrect bank. So this is really convenient and some of the cool things that you're able to do on Union Bank SME Business Banking. It makes it online transfers much, much easier. The main difference with a personal savings account is the decision maker. For business banking, it's a little bit different. It requires 1, 2, sometimes multiple users to facilitate transactions since ultimately the business is managed by multiple people. This is not only more convenient, but it's actually more secure since more users are needed to facilitate a transaction. And this is facilitated through an approval process. Let me pull up one of these transactions so that you can see how it's done. The approval process here is very customizable and it's specific per business. So some businesses are very small, so it only needs a few approvers. Some of them are very large that require more approvers. So we can set it up just the way your business needs it. And so how we've done it is in a very visual diagram. In this particular one, I'll need an approver from Group A. If I click that, I can see that Tim Dance has approved it. There's a check mark and a thumbs up over there. And I'll also need an approval from Group B, which is requires at least one of either Miguel Dance or Alex Dizon to approve the transaction. So the website is very transparent. You'll see who's approved it, who's rejected, who's pending, and who's not seen the transaction yet. Now, at the bottom, I can click the View Activity Log, and I can see the history of the transaction, the date and time that Miguel created the transaction, and the different times that it was approved. And then at the end here, you'll see the final status of the transaction. If I take a look at the PesoNet transaction, I have a sample one here. I'm going to open that up. Now, usually the issue with PesoNet transactions with most banking apps in the Philippines is that the bank or the sending app will tell you when it's been sent out. Means your money has come out of the bank, but it won't tell you when it's been successfully credited into the beneficiary. What we've done is integrate to the PesoNet reports so that in the activity logs, you'll actually see different stages of your transaction. Here, you'll see that it's been released on December 3, and on December 4, it was successfully credited and confirmed by the beneficiary bank. Those are a bunch of the cool things that we're doing for fund transfer. We have a lot of level of customization. We have a lot of different channels you can make use of, and the UX is really, really nice. Bills payment, I won't really go through it. It's very similar to fund transfer, but it's specific to utility billers. I'm not going to go through into that, but one cool thing that's special with our app is I think we have the largest, no, I know for a fact that we have the largest list of billers across all the different banks. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is check deposit. That's another groundbreaking thing that we released last year. We are the first business application to allow check deposit via the mobile app. Majority of us, or majority of the businesses, still transact through checks. This is undoubtedly one of our key features for them. So here, I can take an example. I can take a picture of a check. It's just an example, so I'm not going to really push through with that. But you get the idea. You can deposit checks and gain access to their funds. So it really improves liquidity and keeps their employees and as well as our branch team safe as possible so that they can do all their online business transactions at the safety of their home or their offices, wherever they may be. So those are the different types of transactions that you can do in business banking. There's a whole bunch of other features that I can talk about, but I think those are kind of the important ones. I also want to talk about alerts. So this is another thing that I talked about earlier that I think we are able to do better because it's on the mobile app. Now, if you're familiar with Facebook or Instagram, you get your notifications through what's called a push notification, that little banner on your phone. It makes it much more convenient rather than, getting emails. Generally, and since the longest time, emails has been the go-to method of notifying approvers na, oh boss, you have something to approve, etc. And it can get really cluttered. Although we do still have the option to notify you via email, we've also included push notifications on the mobile app. So you'll get a red dot just as you would your Facebook or Instagram, and you'll know that there's something important for you to check. And ultimately, when you receive that notification, it's much easier to act on it because if you click on the notification, it will automatically redirect you to the transaction that needs your action, and you can close out that transaction immediately. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we end this demo is the multiple company management. So what I found, which is surprising to me, is that a lot of business owners don't just have one business. A lot of the time, these entrepreneurs, I guess, are really creative, so they end up thinking of a lot of businesses. They need to manage multiple businesses, and a lot of banks will require them to have a separate set of credentials per business, which can be really difficult, right? You can imagine you have to remember your password, your username, and your company's ID pa. So usually there's 3 things you need to remember. What we've done is with a single set of credentials, you can actually manage all your different businesses now. So on the top left corner, you'll see that I have my company profile here. And if I click that, I'll see all the different companies I'm a part of. So I'm a part of quite a few test companies. Now, if I click any of them, you'll notice that the accounts that I see have now changed. And this is because even if we allow a single user to go to his different companies, we still maintain the control that's required. So depending on the company that he switched to, he will get the necessary access rights. If he's a CFO in company A, he'll see all the access rights for that particular CFO. If he's just a staff in another company, he'll only see staff access rights for that particular company. So it's much more convenient, but it's still secure and has the level of customization that all businesses need. So those are kind of the things that we've done to make it a much more pleasurable experience. UX is often not given enough attention for the business sector. And we feel that because we've been able to create the app ourselves, this is not an out-of-the-box product that we've purchased elsewhere or third party, we made this ourselves. We feel we were able to deliver a customer experience that will really match our market and be something that we can be proud of. That's the app. There's a lot of great value on using it. I talked about some of the cool features. But really, at the end of the day, what we've also found through talking to many clients, generally, the reason that businesses don't do online banking is because the onboarding process is such a difficult, cumbersome task. So what we've done is take a look at the end-to-end experience, not just when you're on the app. It's the actual onboarding process in getting onto the app in the first place. So, onboarding generally is painful in two ways. The first one is the enrollment process, indicating filling up forms, indicating what requirements your business needs, what are the different users, and this requires, manual setup of the bank. What we've done is we've digitized that process so that you can enroll your account and set up all your customized requirements on your own at the safety of your home. You don't need to go to a branch, and facilitate all those requirements digitally so that within a matter of hours, you would already be able to use your online banking account. Whereas previously, and I know a lot of banks still do this, it still takes weeks and sometimes months for you to get your access. And this is a really big hurdle for businesses, and it's keeping them from moving over to online banking. The second thing about onboarding is the training. Because the UX is so clunky generally and complex for businesses, training is usually facilitated by a banking personnel. But because, again, I mentioned it earlier, the UX is so nice, we've also included tutorials and guides on the website. You can actually learn a lot of the website on your own without having bank personnel reach out. That the experience is painless, and it is something that you can pick up on your own with no training at all. So those are kind of the things that we've improved on. And we took it even a step further. So if you notice, it's enrollment. When I talk about enrollment, you have to have a Union Bank business account in the first place. But now, we've taken it a step further, end-to-end na talaga siya. We've also launched late last year, and it's live now, digital account opening. So you can now open a business account completely digitally online from the safety of your home using Union Bank SME Business Banking app. So this is a real breakthrough, and hopefully this will really encourage a lot of our businesses to finally shift over to online banking. And I'll show you a bit of a demo of kind of the flow that it goes through. So they get a link. In this particular case, it's ABC Corporation, and they get a reference number. They say, prepare all the docs that you are about to proceed. Now, it's a little bit different with the retail. I like to compare it with the retail sector because everyone's familiar with the account opening process for the retail sector. So if you're familiar with the retail sector, you have to do like a selfie and enter your ID, etc. Important KYC information. But for businesses, again, it's multiple users, multiple owners, multiple board of directors, all their KYC information in order for that company to open an account. So what we've done is pattern it to the retail sector, but instead of just one person doing that selfie KYC process, it actually goes through all the different key people of the company. So whether it's the president, treasurer, etc., or if it's a partnership, it's both partners. So these, as long as these partners and these key personnel open and do go through the KYC process, they're able to open a business account for the company. So here, I kind of skipped through the first step. I'm actually going through that KYC process for these key personnel. If you take a look here, it's very similar to the process of the retail. They have to enter their important information, KYC, personal information, contact info, address. So it's very similar. And if you take a look here, they have to enter their ID, etc. So after they go through this, signature scanning KYC process, the account for their business is officially open. So it's pretty straightforward, actually. That's pretty much it. So after you fill in the company information, all your signatories need to go through a selfie process. And once that's done, you have an account and you can start using online banking. So those are the nice features that we have for the app. Thanks everyone for listening to me. And if you have any other questions or if there's any other features that you want to talk about more in depth, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.